Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Aloha Friday, the Committee on Water and Land. It's on its notice of hearing dated Friday, today, March 15th, in room 229, and it's 1 o'clock. Just some housekeeping measures. For the testifiers, we ask that you stand on your written testimony or limit your oral testimony as well to a minute. However, that doesn't exclude those questions that may come up and the debate goes on. The content of this hearing can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of the hearing is on the Senate's YouTube channel. Decision-making will occur after we hear from the testifiers. And members, since we have a Big Island agenda on the top of the hearing notice, let's put that at the end of the agenda and proceed with HB 1546 relating to restoration of beachlands. This amends the definition of beach restoration used in laws governing the Board of Land and Natural Resources powers to engage in beach restoration to include activities undertaken to maintain and improve eroded beaches and degraded dune systems, and to remove abandoned and remnant man-made materials that pose a risk to the health of the public and the ecosystem. First up, let's hear from DLNR, Michael Kane. Aloha, good seeing you.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair Michael Kane. On behalf of DLNR, we stand in our written testimony in support. Briefly, we have made some recommendations, and these were in response to comments that had been received in previous hearings. We believe this maintains the integrity of the bill and addresses those comments.
Okay, we appreciate the amendments. Thank you so much. Okay, Chuck Fletcher sends communication in support, and that's from the University of Hawaii, Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Mary Alice Evans sends communication in support. The City and County of Honolulu on climate change. Matthew Gunzer in support. Lauren Blickley, Surf Rider Foundation in support. Dwayne Fisher and Eric Robinson sends comments. And these are additional supporters: Denise Antolini, Jacqueline Ambrose, Gwen Young, Daniel Amato, and Maureen Brock. Members, any questions of the department, or is there anyone else wishes to speak to HB 1546? Hearing none, then let's proceed to 1554. And this is relating to aquatic resources. This expands the Department of Land and Natural Resources rulemaking authority to include any rule to impose restrictions or requirements deemed necessary to protect certain aquatic life. Brian Nelson. Okay, aloha. Brian Nielsen, sorry about that.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair. Brian Nielsen on behalf of DLNR. We stand on our written testimony and support. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for the department presently? Thank you so much. Okay. And we do have Ku'aina Ulu Au Amo, or Kua Olan Fisher, not on Zoom, IT, yeah?
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, sends communication in support, testifying for the Hawaii Fishermen's Alliance for Conservation and Tradition, sends communication in opposition, Clayton Kubo, an individual in opposition, Jacqueline Ambrose in support. Is there anyone wishing to speak to HB 1554? Okay. Hearing none, we'll proceed with HB 1900. And this is relating to hydrologic data collection, and this appropriates funds to improve the state's water resource management and hydraulic data collection. Okay, Dean Oweno, DLNR. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Aloha. Good
Aloha.
afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair. Dino Wano, Acting Deputy for the Commission on Water Resource Management. Here to stand on our testimony and if available for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presence. Appreciate that. Okay, University of Hawaii. Aloha. Thomas Giambeluca. Is that correct?
Aloha, Chair and Vice Chair.
Aloha.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you. I'm Tom Giambaluca. I'm the Director of Water Resources Research Center, the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I'm here to stand on our testimony and support and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And for, I guess previously, was any data collected, or when was the last time that this was done?
There's data being collected. This is really to improve the collection, to make it more comprehensive. For example, we're building a network of 100 what we call Hawaii Mesonet stations, which are very
It's
advanced
great.
stations with telemetry and high quality instrumentation and a data management system to make it available to the users. The Seaworm staff is also requesting funding to help them with their ongoing monitoring
Sure.
of streams and wells.
And this will be statewide collections,
Statewide,
right?
statewide.
Data. Okay. Thank you so much for your presence. Appreciate it. Department of Agriculture sends communication in support, and we have 12 support base that came in as well. Department of Ag, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, Board of Water Supply, Ernie Lau, I don't see Ernie here. They asked that someone would be here in person. Department of Water Supply from the County of Hawaii, Kawika Uehara, Ulupono Initiative, Hawaii Farm Bureau, Nature Conservancy. Oh, yes, come on, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Vice Chair, Mariah Yoshizu, on behalf of Ulupono Initiative. Ulupono would just like to stand on its testimony and support.
Thank you for your presence as well. Nature Conservancy, North Shore Hydrological Services in support, Jacqueline Ambrose and Charles Ice, or Ice. I'm sorry if I mispronounced, it's ICE, Ice. Okay, they're all in support. Anyone else wishes to speak to HB 1900? Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed with HB 1922, and this is relating to wildlife. This expands DLNR's rulemaking authority to include any rule deemed necessary to protect certain wildlife. Okay, DLNR? Jason? Yeah. Aloha.
Vice Chair. Jason Omick, DLNR, Division of Forestry and Wildlife, and we stand by our testimony in support of this measure.
Okay, thank you so much for being here as well. Okay. Clayton Kubo in support, Jacqueline Ambrose in support as well. Is there anyone else wishes to speak to HB 1922? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to HB 2478. This is relating to the Pacific Marine Fisheries Compact, and this authorizes the governor to execute a compact on behalf of the state to cooperate in the Pacific States Marine Fisheries Commission. And members, we also did hear the Senate version on this measure, and happy to have seen these measures moving as well. Okay, DLNR, Brian Nielsen.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, Brian Nielsen. On behalf of DLNR, we stand on our testimony in strong support. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, there was, and I think we included that in the Senate version about an inclusion of someone with a background in cultural.
Yeah, so we would support the same
Same,
language
okay.
inserted into this. Yes.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Philip Fernandez from the Fishermen's Alliance for Conservation and Tradition in support as well. Members, any questions on HB 2478? All right, let's move on then to go back to the first item, and this is HB 2579. This is relating to the Hilo Community Economic District. This clarifies that BLNR shall not unilaterally amend the terms and conditions of any lease of public lands being extended pursuant to Act 149, Session Laws of 2018. Okay, who's representing DLNR on this one? Kevin, are you? Okay, we got Russell on DLNR on Zoom. Aloha, Russell.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Russell Tsuji for DLNR. As we stated in our testimony, we'll stand on that testimony. We oppose this legislation, Chair, respectfully. It would make it very cumbersome to have to place our form leases that we amend quite often into the administrative rulemaking process. See, it does take a lot of time. So we do oppose it. We ask that you hold this bill and available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for DLNR? Hearing none. County Council Member, Hawai'i Island Council District 3, Susan Liloy, in support, testifying for the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Hawaii, Garth Yamanaka, in support, Corey Aguiar for the Kanoilihua Industrial Area Association, and James McCulley in support. IT is Mr. McCulley on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
All right, thank you. Mahalo, members. Any questions of this measure? Okay, hearing none. We'll go into recess for now to at least get one more member so that we can do our decision-making results on the measure before us on today's agenda. Good afternoon again. The Committee on Water and Land is going into decision-making on its agenda of Friday, March 15th in Conference Room 229, the agenda that was posted for 1 p.m. Members, let's proceed. Chair's recommendation on HB 2579 is to pass this measure as is. Any discussions? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Okay. Chair's recommendations to pass HB 2579 HD1 as is. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang is excused. Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Favela is excused. Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. HB 1546 relating to restoration of beachlands. Chair's recommendation is we adopt the DLNR's amendments. And that is on page 2, line 18, delete the words eroded and degraded. If you can follow me, Brian, as well, whoever is, oh yes, here. Make sure we're doing the right thing that you recommended. On page 3, line 2, delete the words, delete the words and ecosystem. Page 3, add a new subsection 3 that reads, nourish eroded beaches through the placement of compatible sand from an outside or adjacent source with or without stabilizing structures. And I think that was recommended from a DLNR. Any discussions on these amendments? Anything to add? That's it, yeah? Okay. All right. A chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments on DLNR's recommendations. Any discussions? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote, and Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendations to pass HB 1546 HD1 with amendments of the 3 members present on water, land. Any no votes or votes with reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. HB 1554 relating to aquatic resources. Chair's recommendation is to pass this measure as is. Any discussions? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass HB 1554 HD1 as unamended of the 3 members present. Any no votes or votes with reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Okay. Thank you. HB 1900 relating to hydrologic data collection. Chair's recommendation that we pass this measure as is. Any discussions? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass HB 1900 HD 1 unamended. Of the 3 members present, any no votes or votes with reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. HB 1922 relating to wildlife. This is the rulemaking authority. Chair's recommendation is to pass this measure as is. Any discussion? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass HB 1922 HD 2 unamended. Of the 3 members present, any no votes or votes with reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you. Last but not least, HB 2478, and this is relating to the Pacific Marine Fisheries Compact. Chair's recommendation that we adopt DLNR's amendments starting on page 11, line 6, that reads, provided that at least one commissioner shall have knowledge of Native Hawaiian cultural fishing practices and shall serve as a representative of the Native Hawaiian fishing community. Any discussions on these measures, on this measure? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass HB 2478 HD 1 with amendments of the 3 members present. Any no votes or votes with reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. This concludes for the first time in the history of Waterland. So far, halfway through the mark, we're done in 20 minutes. All right, aloha.